Hello again, and welcome back to the Church of the Open Door in Ukiah, California. My name is Sherry Marks. I'm the pastor here, and this is my message for this day after Christmas. We're very happy to have you with us, and everyone is welcome to take part here, to join us in our message, and we're just glad to have you back with us. This will not be a terribly long reading today, or message today, because I'm assuming that many of you, like I am myself, somewhat worn out from all the Christmas festivities, and so it's a little shorter than normal. The reading is from Luke's Gospel, the 2nd chapter, verses 15 through 21. The angels left the shepherds and went back to heaven. The shepherds said to each other, "Let's go to Bethlehem and see this great event the Lord has told us about." So they went running and found Mary and Joseph, and there was the baby lying in the feeding box. When they saw the baby, they told what the angels had said about this child. Everyone was surprised when they heard what the shepherds told them. Mary continued to think about these things, trying to understand them. The shepherds went back to their sheep, praising God and thanking Him for everything they had seen and heard. It was just as the angel had told them. And when the baby was 8 days old, he was circumcised, and he was named Jesus. The name was given by the angel before the baby began to grow inside Mary. So yes, today is the day after Christmas. The one that we waited for all through Advent has arrived. Church services have been attended, carols sung, and here in our homes the beautifully wrapped gifts have all been unwrapped. The Christmas dinner has been eaten. Long-distance phone calls with faraway family members have ended too soon. And many of us, I suspect, are sitting around looking just a little bit glassy-eyed with exhaustion. And since this day falls on Sunday this year, for many of us, that means it's church day today. And so here I am, attempting to share a message that is still meaningful after we've had the standard nativity readings in church and on TV, and we've heard them everywhere. Was the Charlie Brown special on yesterday? I missed it if it was. This won't be a long message, as I mentioned earlier. We've heard so much of the story already, and after a massive Christmas project in my husband's church, I am, like many of you, pretty well played out myself. But I was delighted to find this reading, which is actually for next Saturday, according to the lectionary, but I'm using it today because it has such a wonderful day after feel to it. In this part of Luke's Gospel, the angel choirs and the stars and the baby's birth all happened yesterday. And for Mary and Joseph, as for the rest of us this year, this is the day after. The angels have gone back home to heaven, and so the shepherds decide to go see for themselves what the angels had announced to them. When they arrived in Bethlehem, they saw the baby. They told what the angels had said about this child. Everyone was surprised when they heard what the shepherds told them. All this according to Luke. And Mary continued to think about these things, trying to understand them. Apparently, all of the visible miracles took place out in the fields, and all anyone in Bethlehem knew was that a young woman had given birth, if they even knew that. Even Mary and Joseph were blissfully unaware of all that had taken place outside of town until the shepherds arrived to tell their story. And then, having shared their news, the shepherds went back to their sheep, praising God and thanking Him for everything they had seen and heard. And Mary? Well, Mary, like most other new mothers, having missed the angelic choirs, went back to the contemplation of her own small miracle, the child she held in her arms. Because this is one of an extremely rare category found in Scripture, a story where the woman is the most important character and not just a bit player in someone else's drama. Why? Because without Mary, there is no story. Without Mary's yes, there is no Jesus. There's an old saying that became especially popular in the last couple of generations. Women hold up half the sky. But you would never know that from reading the Bible. There are women in the writings. After all, without Eve, who could we blame for all of our woes? There are women victims, like Jephthah's daughter, and the nameless woman hacked into pieces so her owner could make a point. There are even women leaders, like Miriam and Deborah, but the amount of space given them is minuscule compared to that given to male leaders and heroes. Mary is certainly the most honored of these women, but even that is for being the mother of Jesus and excuse me. Even that is for being the mother of Jesus and rarely for being her own courageous and deeply faithful self. When Gabriel appeared and made his outrageous announcement, Mary did not say she had to go check with her menfolk first. She said yes, and she said it on her own. She made her own choice, and she made it not for herself alone, but for all of the generations of the poor and the voiceless who had waited for so long for the salvation promised to them. It's no wonder, then, that Mary holds such a place of honor with so many 20th century and now 21st century women. So many women are still struggling for the right to speak up for themselves, and this is worldwide. And when women gather to speak out, they, like Mary, tend to speak not only for themselves, but for the silenced, and the maligned and the ignored among them. Think back to 2017 when the famous March for Women happened, in which as many as almost 7 million women took to the streets worldwide to demand the right to speak for themselves. And like Mary, they also spoke for those who in our times couldn't speak for themselves, or when they did speak were not listened to. LGBTQ rights, gender equality, racial equality, workers' rights, disability rights, health care, and so very much more. It all sounds like the modern-day version of Mary's Magnificat that we spoke of last week. Mary believed in equality in God's promises, and she rejoiced in it. She knew on that long ago morning in Bethlehem that the child she held in her arms would one day be the agent of God's promises. And we still believe the same today. So, Merry Christmas to you all. And may the blessings of the Christ child touch us and heal us, all of us, all of the us's everywhere. and may your week be blessed.